Hello folks, and welcome to Paddock Pass, your pre-race edition for the 2018 Hungarian Grand Prix. And somber times at Ferrari, flags at half-mast, the team wearing black armbands in respectful mourning for Sergio Marchionne, who died. The news got to us as we arrived here in Budapest at the age of 66. He was an absolute giant of the auto industry, leading Fiat, Chrysler, of course, boss of Fiat and Ferrari, and his loss will be massively felt by all at the team, within the company and within the wider auto industry, and of course in Formula One. Our thoughts, of course, are with his family, his friends and his colleagues. Ferrari have decided today not to do any media time, so we won't be hearing from Sebastian or from Kimi. Indeed, we won't be hearing from Maurizio Arrivabene tomorrow either. They've been let off that by the FIA, and I think understandably so. Thank you for understanding that as well. So let's move into the race weekend, and we start, of course, with a level of controversy from Germany. Lewis Hamilton, the winner, rising up from 14th place on the grid, probably one of the drives of his life. But the controversy came in that he decided, or the team rather, told him to come into the pits, and having passed the bollard on the way into the pits, Lewis then decided, you know what, this ain't a great idea. At which point he moved to the left, crossed over the solid white line to retake to the track. In so doing, breaking a regulation for which he was then handed a reprimand. Is that fair? Is that not fair? What rule did he break? The consequences. We spoke to Charlie Whiting to get the lowdown on exactly what Lewis did wrong, exactly why the stewards chose to do what they did, and why it is unique and different to other examples cited over the web in recent days. So here is Charlie with the full explanation.
Well, Appendix L of the Sporting Code says that any line separating the pit entry from the track shouldn't be crossed in either direction. So in other words, the white line you see starting at the bollard and running around to the red and white and green bit there, drivers mustn't cross that line in any direction. So if a driver decides to enter the pits late, he can't cross it that way, or if a driver decides that having committed to the pit lane, he wants to cross it that way, he can't, and that's the rule that he broke.
So essentially it's like for any one of us driving on a motorway. If there's a hatched line you can cross it, if there's a solid line you can't.
I suppose in some ways yes, because that's a good way of putting it, yeah.
Okay. Obviously the stewards have a number of different penalties that they can apply to these situations. What are those penalties, and why did they come around to giving Lewis a reprimand?
They can impose anything from a reprimand up to 10-second stop-and-go penalty, which turns into a 30-second penalty after the race, you know. But I believe they chose the lightest one because of the nature of the incident itself. Mitigating circumstances such as the fact that the safety car was out, so speeds were much lower. Lewis crossed that bit of grass there in a safe way, didn't endanger himself or any other driver. So those were taken into account when they decided on the penalty, I imagine.
I think that's about as good an explanation as you're going to get from as high up as you can possibly get. Great to hear from Charlie, gracious of him, and very appreciative we are that he gave us his time. So to the man that affected or didn't affect, Lewis Hamilton, race winner in Germany, and what a race. What a drive from him to retake the lead of the championship after Sebastian Vettel, of course, crashed out with that first sprinkling down of rain. Some people saying that's put the championship into Lewis's hands. He can't possibly lose it now. I disagree, because 2 weeks ago everyone was saying, oh, well, it's the pendulum swung in Sebastian Vettel's favour now. He can't possibly lose the championship. And I think this season, what is most fascinating about it is one weekend Ferrari will be in the ascendancy, the next weekend it'll be Mercedes, it's Lewis, it's Seb, it's going like this, and I think it will continue to do this into the second half of the season. Anyway, how does he feel on the back of that amazing win coming here to Hungary as the new championship leader?
I mean, the last two races, I would say, I've been really, really proud of. If you look at, and it's been very reminiscent of when I started racing. When I started at Rye House, I had this really old go-kart, and my dad did his utmost to make it look like it's a new go-kart. You know, and my stepmom did a great job with making my overalls look great with embroidery. She did the embroidery to put my name on the suit, and we'd start always at the back because the guys at the front had the new kit. They're either more experienced drivers or wealthier families had better equipment, and we would arrive with our cart stuffed in the back of the car. and I'd have to wiggle my way through from the back. And those were actually the most exciting races of my career. They're the ones that I always felt the best. If you look at my GP2 race at Silverstone, where I came through the field and those are the ones that are most exciting and most rewarding. So I'd say the last 2 races, being faced with not great odds, but defying the odds, I love that. I don't feel like we're on the back foot. We currently we haven't performed 100% every single weekend. We've had things that we can, as I said, that we can improve on. Ferrari have taken a step ahead, as you've seen. They've really taken a step up, particularly in their qualifying performance, in which we are under no illusion that we have to work hard to battle against. And that's just the coolest thing about this team. They just keep their head down. They don't make any complaints. They're like, we just got to do better. And you see from an issue we'll have on a Sunday or a Saturday, already it's in the design board, and we'll have fixes for this week, which is, for me, it's crazy that they can already come up with a fix. It's so intelligent, the people we have back at the factory. That fascinates me. But also just how enthusiastic everyone is and how determined. They're like, okay, we've got that problem. That can be better. We'll fix it, So I don't know if it's really my place to really say it. I mean, you're probably going to speak to Valtteri later on. But the timing is everything on I understand. When I spoke to Toto, I was like, I understand his perspective. We're at the German Grand Prix, all of a sudden we're first and second. You see other teammates cause trouble and lose points through silly mistakes. And whilst he's got the utmost respect and trust in us, you see how passionate Toto is. He doesn't want to lose what we've worked so hard to gain. And we're in a great position there. He's like, I just want to keep it the way it is. In my heart, I think me and Valtteri had a great battle. And what people probably perceived is Valtteri had dropped back after turn 8 of the circuit. I finally got ahead, and he didn't have really much of a chance after that, because we come into quite a section where it's not that easy to follow, which is the most difficult part of that track. But for example, I think he got the order, or the communication came, I believe, between turn 12 and 13. So I was already ahead at that point. But yeah, I mean, I don't think at this point we need to have those kind of things, but I think as a team, we are a team, and we're there to get those results. So ultimately, we do need to work together in certain scenarios. But I was happy with the battle that we did have, and we were quite respectable in the space that we give each other. I don't think we would have that space probably wouldn't be there if we were racing if he was racing against a Ferrari and vice versa. So, yeah.
So, Lewis Hamilton clearly very happy. Valtteri Bottas, we spoke to him earlier today. There's Daniel Ricciardo. We're going to be on his video. Let's not get. Okay. Oh, are we gonna cross over? We're crossing the streams. I don't know if we can do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like right. Ghostbusters. How are you?
Good, mate.
Good.
How are you?
Good. Who are you talking to?
I don't know. Who am I talking to? 799 people.
That's
880.
Are they asking you questions, or are they just sending you kissy faces?
Hello, bonjour. Some love heart eyes.
Just lots of. Oh, hi.
There's Max.
Get everybody in. This is cool. Right, we got to let. You're getting the nod. You've got to go.
You already get a tag.
You got to go. Did I already go? No, I got burnt.
You got burnt.
I got burnt. Have fun. Enjoy. Right, we didn't hear from Daniel today. I was going to talk about Valtteri. That's it. Valtteri Bottas. Of course, a lot of people pointing at team orders potentially last time out in Germany. Toto told us way back in Bahrain he would not do that to his drivers. After Abu Dhabi in 2016, he said it was the greatest regret of his life not letting his drivers race. And we spoke to Valtteri about it today, and Valtteri said, look, I get it. You know, we weren't expected to win the race. So Toto just told us to hold position, and I understand it. But then I said, well, did he do that because he doesn't trust you guys to race? And Valtteri he paused before he answered fully. And I think it would be good. And I think Toto may kick himself. And certainly the drivers wanted to race each other, keep it clean, but take the fight to each other. I think they might kick themselves for that. It was a bit of a shame that that's how it ended, because I think we wanted to see that fight. Anyway, we'll come back to these guys now. Oh, by the way, Valtteri also said this ain't Lewis's championship yet, and he will fight. And he's not playing second fiddle. Let's get to these guys. Max, who we've just seen, has been on a brilliant tear this year. Since Monaco, since that crash in practice in Monaco, I think something clicked in him, something changed. We're going to ask him about that now, the difference between the first half of the season and the second half of the season. What has changed in Max Verstappen to put him onto this brilliant run where he has consistently out-qualified, out-raced, outperformed and outscored Daniel Ricciardo?
Yeah, and to be honest, nothing changed, but I think you always learn from your mistakes, and that's what I always do, but I wouldn't change my approach.
It seems that Monaco was a massive turning point for you, because since that weekend, you've outperformed Daniel consistently every single weekend.
I mean, even before that, it's been always, the pace was always good. That was not a problem. I just somehow on the Sundays it always went a bit wrong, but even the Saturdays were good. So, like I said, I think I just learned from my mistakes, and I'm getting more and more experience. Of course, I've been now in F1. It's my 4th year, but I've skipped, from go-karting into Formula 1 a lot. And I guess sometimes, you need to learn it on the hard way in Formula 1 when everybody is watching. Winding
technical circuit. Is this one that's going to suit you guys, or do we just sort of take that for granted every year and build up expectations too much?
No, it suits our car. We just have to wait and see how much we're going to lose on the straight. Hopefully it's, of course, a little bit less like it was in Hockenheim, which I'm sure it will be, but I just hope that we have enough pace in the car to be able to compensate that.
So from one Red Bull team to the other, and to Toro Rosso. Now, Germany was a rarity in 2018 in that Brendan Hartley scored points, and he did so brilliantly. Came home in 10th, got that 1 point, but he had to make the strategy play out for him as the rain began to fall at the end of the race. Used all of his experience and his knowledge to make the right call on tyres, and ultimately that proved critical to his result. Delighted with it he was, deservedly so. Brendan Hartley, after so much disappointment and bad luck this year, finally having it all play out for him, and in a race where Toro Rosso weren't expected to score, they did. Great job from Brendan.
Yeah, in some ways it felt like a bit of a win after such a tough 4 or 5 races, a lot of which was out of my control. I felt strong for a while. I felt like I've been making progress, working with the team, feeling comfortable with the car environment, but the results haven't shown, and like I said, a lot of the time out of my control. So to get that all together, to do a good race in tough circumstances, felt great, and I hope I can take that momentum and go into the summer break on a bit of a high.
And to be the master of your own destiny in that moment as well, to take the choice to do what you did with the strategy when so many other people sort of went along with the flow. How meaningful was that?
Yeah, it did feel good. I had to make a quick decision on track. The team called me in initially. I asked if I could have another lap. I had a feeling. Tried to use all the experience that I've had over all the years, all the endurance racing in tricky conditions, mixed conditions, and obviously hindsight's always easy, knowing now that of course that was the right decision. But it was a team effort, good communication, and it feels good to get that right together with the team. Yeah.
So, Toro Rosso, who drives there next year? It's a question we will come to, possibly in this segment now, because we're going to talk about Force India. And we're going to talk about their drivers, but first we're going to talk about news that was reported during the week that Force India are on the verge of going into administration. There has been no comment out of the team on that, but it was a very strong rumour, certainly in the German press, that there may potentially be some investment in the team into the future from Lawrence Stroll. Now, this all plays around a silly season that has the capacity to be massive or has the capacity to be nothing. You may remember 1 week ago, we stood down on the Renault steps down there and I said I didn't believe that Esteban Ocon would be leaving Force India. I've had my mind changed in the 7 days between the last Paddock pass and this. There are very heavy rumours that if he hasn't already signed for Renault, that he has at least signed an option to race for Renault next year, which means that Carlos Sainz will be the man to move out of the way, potentially to McLaren to join Fernando Alonso. Sergio Perez down here at Force India is rumoured to be moving to Haas to replace Romain Grosjean, or some believe might have already signed to stay on at Force India. Who joins him at Force India? Well, if the investment from Lawrence Stroll was to arrive at Force India, it is believed that Lance would come as part of that package. Lance and the Strolls are believed to want Robert Kubica to come with him. So, could we have a Kubica-Stroll lineup at Force India? Could we have a Stroll and Perez lineup at Force India? Or could, as we believe with Ocon moving on to Renault, have a George Russell here at Force India. It seems that wherever Stroll doesn't go, George Russell, Mercedes' other young driver, will. So potentially Russell is at Williams. If Stroll doesn't move to Force India, then Russell will be at Force India. That's the rumour. Anyway, I think that's as good as we can do with the rumour mill. Oh, apart from one other thing. Yep, Toro Rosso's tech director, James Key, is off to McLaren, but it's not that easy. He's got a long gardening period, so one imagines there will have to be some interplay, some sort of negotiating, some bargaining chips. Will Lando Norris or potentially Stoffel Vandoorne be that bargaining chip to Toro Rosso? Reportedly, both Vandoorne and Norris in with a shout to be a Toro Rosso driver next year. That, I believe, is your silly season condensed. Let's talk to both of these guys, because they both could be potentially on the move. They're both aware of the situation at the team and the difficult financial structure that they find themselves within. A rarity to hear from both drivers on the Thursday, but we're going to hear from both Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon. Force India's been in the news a lot this week. Rumours about administration, financial difficulties at the team. How's morale within the garage?
It's awesome. This team is the best team in Formula One. Has great people. There's no secret, that we are going into a difficult period, and that has affected a bit this year in terms of performance on track, because financially it's been difficult. But we know that things should be resolved quite soon, and I just hope that it's for the good of the team, because this team, whether I'm in or out of the team, deserves the very best, because these people work so hard, and as I say, what this team has achieved, it deserves a lot of merit, and it's good for Formula One to have teams like Force India in Formula One.
I was about to bring up whether you're going to be here or not next year, but you brought it up yourself, whether I'm going to be here or not. They're your words, not mine. So there is a question in your minds about whether you're going to be here or not.
I have to see what really happens, in the team. As we know right now, we have some uncertainty on where things are going, but I'm just happy, I'm optimistic that things will go the right way, and this will be a great team. But I also have to say that I'm in a lucky position to have some options out there.
And as you always say, every year it's down to your sponsors ultimately where you end up. The choice lies with them. Are you confident they're going to make the right choice for you? And if they make the choice for you to leave here, will you be unhappy to have to leave this team?
I certainly will be very sad to leave Force India, because I've had incredible years. We've had an incredible amount of success, and the options out there, it's not like there's an option at Mercedes or Ferrari, So it's always moving around. So let's see what really happens with the future. You never know in Formula One. So until you don't have your contract in your hands, you never know what will happen. I know from the past, things can change very quickly. So let's wait and see.
Looking back to Germany, first time since China that you were out-qualified by Sergio, first time since May that he outscored you in the race. Does that show how much you've stepped your game up this year?
Probably, yes. It's something I had to work quite hard last year, the qualifying. I already improved it over last year, but of course, this year I've been working really hard, very hard on it, and the result was there. So, I was pretty happy with my development. Of course, Sergio is pushing very hard, as you can see in Hockenheim. He's there all the time pushing me, but it brings also the team performance forward.
Now, obviously, I know you had one eye maybe on Mercedes for next year. Valtteri's ultimately got that, but there is still talk about where you end up next year. Talk of Renault, talk of staying at Force India. Where do you think you're going to be? Or do you know where you're going to be?
About Mercedes, I think the bosses have plans for me, and I knew before you, what.
Should hope so.
Yeah, what was going on. So no, it's not a surprise for me. About the future, yeah, for sure. There's a lot of rumors, which is always good as a driver. It's always nice because it means that people look at you and they are, happy with the job you do on track. So definitely, it's a good thing. We'll see. Renault, of course, is an interesting team. They are moving forward and they are improving all the time. So we will see. It's interesting for any drivers.
So, from the two chaps that might be leaving to Force India to one chap that might be joining them, Lance Stroll. Not been an easy season for him and didn't much like the ease of the questions thrown to him as to his future. Are you going to be here by the time it's fighting for podiums again?
I'm just taking it day by day, and we'll see what the future holds. I'm really just trying to, do the best I can every weekend and live in the moment, and we'll see what happens.
There's a lot of speculation at the moment, though, that you might be moving on at the end of this season. Is that something that is weighing on your mind?
It's all speculation. There's always speculation in this sport, so fake news, you could call it.
Can't believe he actually went there. But there you go. Don't want to answer a question? Just call it fake news. Moving on. And down here to Renault and to Carlos Sainz. Whither Carlos Sainz in 2019? That is the big question. Doing an outstanding job here for Renault this year. Last week we spoke to Nico Hülkenberg, who was effusive in his praise for Carlos, in what he's brought to the team and what he's brought out of Nico, and also in his desire to have him as his teammate next year. But as we've already said, he may not have that choice. Carlos loving his time with Renault, but maybe on the move next year.
I think we are both very happy with what we have and the relationship we have inside the team. I think the mechanics, the engineers value it. They see each other pushing, but then having a laugh out of the car and enjoying ourselves pushing each other on the race starts, on the qualifying laps. So I think we are both happy men, and that's what I've heard.
How long is that happiness going to last for? Because we asked Nico last week, who do you want as your teammate? He said he'd love you to still be his teammate, but if you listen to rumours, and we should never listen to rumours, but we do, it doesn't look like that's 100% guarantee.
Oh, definitely it's not 100% guaranteed, even though I think Nico and me both are happy with the situation, but sometimes in F1 there's a lot of other things going on around, especially in my situation where I depend a lot on what happens in Red Bull, what happens in Renault. So that's not very clear still, but I'm sure it will be solved early enough, and we will have some news for you guys.
If we've got it right though, as soon as Red Bull announce Ricciardo, then you're a free agent and you can go where you want.
Pretty much, yeah. There's still a date where I still need to be available for Red Bull, but as you all know, the moment Ricciardo signs for Red Bull, there's very, very little chance that I will end up in Red Bull next year. No? So, I'm pretty much a free agent since then onwards.
It's been a bit of a yo-yo for Romain Grosjean of late. He had a difficult start to the year. Difficult's putting it mildly. Then Austria was sublime. Silverstone off the boil again. And then back in Germany, a great drive. Those last few laps, firing through the field, absolutely sensational. And really the old Romain, I think, back in the car, back in the helmet at that point. And he needs to be. Gunther Steiner has said he needs a consistent Romain Grosjean to prove himself if he wants to be back here next year racing for Haas. And as we've already said, Sergio Perez is sniffing around that seat. Let's talk to the Frenchman now about Germany, and what that's done for him coming to the August break.
Yeah, another good weekend and a solid weekend. Work as hard as we can on the car and make sure that it's performing well here in Hungary. It's not an easy circuit, and tires are going to be playing a big role around the track. But I think we've made some progress in that aspect, and hopefully we can secure again some good position in qualifying and get some very strong points for the team to get in the summer break in a positive mood and be a bit closer from Renault.
Safe to say this wasn't the type of circuit that suited Haas at the beginning of the season. Will this show how much progress you guys have made this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. And Hockenheim was a good challenge for us. It's another one here, but I think the update we've brought in Canada has been working quite well in that region of low-speed corners. So I'm hoping the car is going to be good here. It's a track I love. I've had some really good racing back in the past here, and hopefully we can have a good one before the summer break.
Now, earlier today, I missed Stoffel's media time.
You forgot about me.
No, I didn't forget about you. We had to go and talk to Charlie, and I'm really sorry about that. You know what it's like when you get called to see Charlie. You have to go, otherwise you get a penalty. Let's talk about this weekend. The first question, have you got a new chassis? Because I know we were talking about that in Germany.
We have a different one this weekend. It's one we've used before the season, but the team has put in a lot of effort to understand what's been going wrong. And I think with this, we kind of remove every doubt, and we start from zero.
So are you confident? Are you a bit happier going into this?
I'm very confident. Yeah, I mean, there were some clear issues we could spot on the data, and I think the team put in so much effort now to really get on top of it. It's it's not sure if it's solved yet, but we'll find it out. I think I really go into this weekend very confident and try to make the best of it.
What happens if it doesn't make the difference?
That's something. That's not an option.
Sorry.
So that's not an option.
No, I know. What are the team expecting from this weekend? Do you have any upgrades to add to the old new chassis?
Yeah, we have a couple of new bits on the car this weekend, which hopefully will push us a bit further. I mean, this midfield is, the whole field apart from the top 6 cars is so packed. So if we can gain a couple of tenths, it might push us a bit forward. I think this circuit historically we've done quite well. We scored a big amount of points here last year. It's been good for McLaren as well in the past. So yeah, hopefully it can be a good one to finish before summer break.
Cool. Well, good luck. I hope it goes well, and hope the chassis makes a difference, man. Good luck. Thanks. Have a good weekend. Right. So there's Stoffel Vandoorne. Very nice of him to stop and talk to us. Let's finish off with Marcus Ericsson. Actually, that's a great place. He had a really great race in Germany as well, having been kind of outpunched by Charles Leclerc for a couple of races. We spoke to Charles as well. He was very mindful of the fact that he's still learning in Formula One, and those little spins that he had, quite big spins that he had in Germany, really all part of that learning process, similar to his first lap run-off in Austria, just pushing that little bit, beyond the edge of the envelope, but still learning. So here is Marcus on a great German Grand Prix, really, back in the points. Very, very solid drive for him, and really teeing up, this weekend as we move into the summer break.
I still one race to go, but yeah, of course, this time of the year, it's you are driving for your future, and it's always good to have good performances around that time of the year. And for me to have a strong race in these difficult conditions, and do the right calls and no mistakes, and get awarded with some points was really good and really needed. Yeah.
Do you think you are driving for your future? Because obviously it's silly season, everyone's discussing who goes where, and on the basis of the performances you've put in this year, a lot of people might think you might be safe.
I'm sure I'm driving for my future. I know it for a fact. So I need to perform. Otherwise, there will be other people to take my seat. So I really, have the pressure on, and I need to deliver.
Is this the only place you're talking to?
I don't know. My management obviously is doing all that, but this is where I want to be. I think the team has done great stuff, and I've been here for a long time. So I'd like to continue that journey.
So that's your lot from Paddock Pass. Got to say, it's great to be back in Budapest, great to be back at the Hungaroring, always such a fantastic place to come for the last race before the summer break. Yeah! That's your lot. See you later.